Going to go ahead because she has a college board meeting to attend. And so we're going to go ahead and start with Amy Arrington. And Amy, if you will come up to the mic, join us at the table. Members, you will see your reports kind of in front of you. This is Amy Arrington. She is a new appointee to the College Board. And we're really excited about her experience that she brings to the College Board. I've had a chance to ask her a lot of questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and let her tell us a little bit about herself.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I am Amy Arrington, a lifelong Mississippian, born in Natchez, raised in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and have made Hattiesburg my home with my husband, Derek, and son, Graham, for about the past 24 years. I'm a healthcare attorney, have practiced in the area of healthcare law, compliance, regulation, policy for nearly 30 years now. Have started out with Wise Carter here in Jackson, moved to the Mississippi Hospital Association and worked with them and with some of you over the years in the legislature doing advocacy work with them. Had the opportunity to go to the University of Southern Mississippi and have spent up until the end of 2020, spent 13 years, nearly 13 years at USM, starting as an adjunct professor, teaching healthcare law in their school, what is now the School of Health Professions, moving up through the ranks there to assistant teaching professor and assistant director. But had an opportunity in 2021 to go to work for Hattiesburg Clinic as their chief legal officer, and I have been in that role since then. So sorry, honored to be here in front of you.
Good morning.
I've had an opportunity to ask her a good bit of questions, so I'd like to give the committee at this point in time opportunity to ask her questions in regards to this role. So I'm happy to entertain questions.
Happily married for 25 years, so please don't hold that against me. Thank you.
She's already. There's also a thing in the peer report. She's already filed her statement of economic interest. This was done before that was filed. So she has met all of the qualifications that is required on PERS. And I'll just tell y'all some of the discussions too, because there always comes up, did we ask enough questions? Have we properly talked to them? And so we've had extensive discussions, and just to tell y'all just a little bit too, about the future of higher education in Mississippi. What are the challenges that we're seeing? Some of the things that we really would like to see the board really look at and take leadership roles on and address. And we've had a number of back and forth dialogue on that. So those are some of the questions that we've been able to brief and talk about. So that always comes up. And I just wanted to share with the committee what all we've been kind of discussing. So anyway, yes, Senator Norwood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Arrington, could you just, I appreciate what the chair, could you just share with us, though, I mean, because we are in the midst of some trying times in higher ed as well as education period. Could you just share with us some of your thoughts going forward?
You know, one of the things that interests me most in being able to serve state in this way, I'm a product of public education in Mississippi, from pre-college programs at the W, through their governor's school program, to undergrad and law school at Ole Miss, and then having the unique experience of being on the faculty at USM. So I think what I'd like to bring to the IHL board is that perspective. I've got a lot of learning to do, obviously, about how IHL works and about all 8 universities and the issues, the opportunities, and the challenges that they have. So I think my goal is to do a lot of learning in a very short amount of time, and to be able to apply the expertise and experience I have to the challenges that they are facing, which are numerous, as you know. Certainly seek input from your committee as well.
One other question. I mean, over the years, I know we have, especially in the ranks of the historical Black college and university, we've experienced grave changes in the leadership. And a lot of it, I guess, has been the general public or the alumni has pointed out that it's the system that the quality of individuals that are the individuals that are selected. Is that something that, and I'm just asking if it's something that you would just basically take some time and look at and see if the system could be tweaked or upgraded, or the confidence of the community is restored. Is that something that you would think that you would do? I'm not saying, you know, coming on the board, being a new person on the board at this point, that you could change it, but at least lend your influence to restore some confidence in that.
Absolutely. I think the quality of our institutional executive officers is something that the board is charged with evaluating. So certainly we make that part of our responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Norwood. Any other questions? Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize for being a little late. Etowah Community College is here today with their Corps Cadet program. They asked me to speak to them, so I didn't want to miss that opportunity. Thank you for being here today. I do have just a couple questions, and it very well may be that you don't have access to that information at this point, but I have inquired, and it may go to some of what Senator Norwood was speaking with as well, that the transparency of how the funding model works for IHL apparently cannot be explained or written. It is passed down through time in code of some sort, because the community college system operates on an FTE for the prior year plus population factors. Do you know the formula? And if you don't know the formula, that's okay. Would you seek the formula? And if it's allowed, would you share the formula with the legislature as we appropriate $1.5 billion of spending each year?
To attend my second meeting, I can say I don't know the details.
Okay.
It is something that I do intend to learn about, as I mentioned earlier, again, another area of a lot of learning to do and to share whatever I learn about that with the community.
Well, I appreciate it, because I'm serious when we have 8 institutions of higher learning and they don't know the calculation of the funding they're going to receive. It's got to be hard to plan as an institution. So I'm not asking this question for the first time. I asked this question on January 31st, 2024 in 216 during a joint universities and colleges meeting. And I still don't have an answer. I really feel that that is important as all of us look at the 8 institutions of higher learning across our state who have unique challenges. We know the enrollment cliff is real. We know we have declining populations. That's the reason I think to not know the actual funding formula means we may not be taking into account things that would make each and all of the 8 institutions stronger. But thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion to advise and consent. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, and we look forward to your service. All right, next up, we have Mr. Blanton from Tupelo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Blanton. How are you?
I am doing well.
Right. You are for the Board of Directors of the College Savings Plans of the Mississippi Trust Fund, and you represent the 1st Congressional District. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a Mississippi native. I grew up there in Jackson, Mississippi. Graduated from Mississippi State University. And been a CPA for almost 30 years now. Just realized how old I am. Happily married, live here in Tupelo, Mississippi, which I very much enjoy. I currently work for Region 3, which is one of the Mississippi Community Mental Health Centers. Your equivalent there in Jackson would be Region 9. And I've been here for about 5.5 years. I've served on the College Savings Board I actually was trying to remember how long, and I couldn't remember. It's been since Tate Reeves was in the State Treasurer's office. So.
Tell us, this is a reappointment, and one of the
Yeah.
things that we're gonna see a number of reappointments today. What are the biggest takeaways that you have learned during this process that you've been involved with the board? And what are the things that you think you've done the best with, and what are the things that you think there's improvement on this board?
Well, I will say this. I think Treasurer McRae has done a really good job of taking a step back and looking at the plan, particularly the prepaid plan. The Max plan is a 529 plan. It's effectively it's like a 401k, if you will. So there's not as much management of it, but the prepaid plan has always been a challenge because you are trying to predict what future tuition rates will do, as well as trying to predict what the investment returns will do. Since nobody seems to have a crystal ball, that seems to be a moving target. We benefited over the last couple of years. We went through a period of about 10 years there where tuition rates, not just in the state, but nationally, were increasing at significant bumps. The investment returns were not as aggressive as we had hoped during that time. So we took a pretty big hit there for a while. Since that time, tuition rates have kind of balanced back out to some extent, running closer to standard inflation. So we've become much more stable. I'm much more comfortable today when we are funded than I was 6 years ago when we were upside down. As far as takeaways, one of the things, colleges, it's a complicated formula, particularly when you're looking at the prepaid, and it's based on all the things that actuaries really enjoy getting into. How many hours on average are people taking? Are you paying for hours? Are you paying for a semester? There's a lot of nuances to it. Hindsight being 2020, when we first started the plan, it would have been nice to have known those things, but I think we've learned over the years, and I think we're in really good shape now. Things that we didn't do as well as I wish we had. That's probably the number one is getting a full understanding of how tuition was going to work. And I will state that has changed a little bit. Average number of hours people take, the mix of universities that people go to, all those things play into how that's funded. The things that we've done well, I think the Treasurer's office, no matter whether it was Tate Reeves or Lynn Fitch or David McRae, I think they've all done a good job of promoting these. They've had a really good staff. They've always had very good staff working with these.
Thank you. Does the committee have questions? Do you have any questions? All right. Do I have a motion? I have a motion to advise and consent. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you for your service to this, and we appreciate you being willing to step up and serve another term. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, the next person we have is for the same board. It is Tyler Norman of Meridian, Mississippi. I think Senator McCon might know him. We won't hold that against him. Tyler, are you with us?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Meridian, Mississippi. I'm married to Julia Norman, who serves on the state parole board. I also serve on the State Board of Contractors because my involvement in the construction industry. I own Norman Roofing Company in Meridian and have office in Pearl as well. I've been on the State College Savings Plan Board for a few years, and they do a great job. And David McRae, our treasurer, has our chairman, has done a fantastic job with that. I've enjoyed being on it.
Thank you. Tyler, have you got some questions?
Well, I have no questions for Tyler Norman there. I've known him for a long time. I think highly of him. I have visited with him a good bit in the past, and I would have a motion at the proper time if there are no questions, Madam Chair.
Chair will entertain the motion.
My motion is we do advise and consent.
Thank you. Motion is to advise and consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And thank you, Tyler, for your willingness to serve and your willingness to answer lots of questions about this when we have them. So thank you.
Take care.
All right. Okay. Do we have anybody else? Okay. Okay. All right. The next individual that is, on our list is somebody that is no stranger to, many of us, and had a chance to kind of, communicate with him. And this is a reappointment. This is somebody that y'all all know well, Vidette Carmichael of Meridian. And he is out of the state right now, and we've had difficulty being with him, but I think many of you know him and know that and know of his work for a very long time. So on that, do y'all have a motion? All right, we have a motion to advise and consent on Vidette Carmichael. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Pygott, would you like to join us at the table? This is Mr. Pygott of Carrier, Mississippi, and it's a reappointment to the Mississippi Community College Board. And thank you for coming. And we love to see our reappointments come because we get to ask these questions really and kind of get their insight.
Thank you for asking me, and I'd like to thank Senator Hill for being my support person today.
Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? But I'm going to ask you the same question, is really just tell us kind of the insights you've gotten from the Community College Board
Sure.
as you've been serving.
Well, I'm originally from Picayune, Mississippi, a native, a graduate of Picayune High School, Pearl River Junior College, which dates me because it's community colleges now, and Mississippi State. Had a long career as an insurance agent there in Picayune, still on a little radio station. So I'm very involved in the community. Community colleges to me are very important. I got out of high school at 16 and was accepted at Mississippi State, but my father had the wisdom to point me to a junior college first, a community college. And that gave me a leg up on the rest of my life, to be truthful. Insights as far as the board we serve on, you know, we're a civilian board. As you know, we are a coordinating board, not a controlling board. Made up of 10 citizens that have a love for community colleges, see the need for community colleges. I have learned over the years that we tend to answer to three main constituencies. That's the legislature to begin with, and Kel Smith does an excellent job with that. The presidents and the staff at the MCCB. Now, if we do our job well with those three constituencies, the winners out of this are the students that graduate and go on to good paying jobs in the state of Mississippi. So our job and everything we try to do is control expenses, control staffing, and build good relationships. Challenges for community colleges, of course, it was mentioned before, demographics. You're beginning to see some students, a drop in students. But we have grown, and Kel can give the numbers on that over the past few years. Some colleges more than others, but we have a great community college system, and we're very proud of it. We work to make sure by state statute, the funding, the FTE, and everything is equal. Jason Carter does an excellent job there. So basically, we know there are challenges out there. We face them as you be on the board, and this will be my third time to serve a 6-year term. You learn the questions to ask. It takes you 2 or 3 years just to figure out what the acronyms are for all the things that they throw at us at the meetings. So yes, there's some challenges out there, but I feel very happy with the success the community colleges in the state of Mississippi are making.
I'm going to ask you to do something.
Mhm.
We are all very concerned about our workforce development in the state, our labor force participation rate. And we have a large percentage of people that have a little bit of college and do not have any certificate or any degree program in the state of Mississippi. We, and I've already talked to the prior from IHL, I'm asking everyone for us to pay particular attention to that population because we need to get them a certificate of some description or a degree of some manner, because we need to upskill the workforce that we have. So I'm going to ask you to take that back to the board. When
I could do that, and we have had those discussions.
Absolutely. So, all right, to the committee. Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question I have, and I think you said you were accepted to Mississippi State, but you went to community college and you felt like that was a better decision.
It
Why?
give me a leg up. Academically, I was probably not quite ready to step into a senior college. Maturity wise, again, I got out of high school at 16. It's one of those things I needed a couple more years of maturity to go there. It just gave me the leg up I needed to achieve a degree at a higher institution.
Which you did achieve.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Were those years at the community college less expensive or more expensive?
Less expensive for sure. I think my first tuition, biggest check I'd ever written was $76. I mean, that was a few years ago.
Well, the one thing I would love to see the community college board expound on, because as you stated, you do have a clear formula. K-12 has a clear formula. They have a brand new formula that attempts to direct money toward need. This is why the IHL formula should be disclosed. But the further question I have is a concern with all the gains we've had at K-12, and I'm very proud of those gains. It is my understanding the remediation numbers are very high. We are remediating people who graduated from K-12, sometimes with superior scores and ratings for the school and the individual, who are then in a remediation program. And I would be curious at some point, and Kel has been wonderful to work with, is if we have the ability, and I know there are FERPA laws that protect certain things, but for classes of people who are being remediated, because I'm going to ask for that same information from the IHLs, because to remediate, if I understand it correctly, is to catch you up to where you should have been when you graduated high school. And if we're playing catch up, we don't need to play catch up at the highest tuition level.
That's correct.
So I would be very curious kind of what we are seeing in that. Is it growing? Is it falling? My hope is it's falling, because as our scores go up from the third grade on, it should reflect at the end. But remediation is one of my major concerns about people who are pursuing a four-year degree. And through our career coach program, are we taking people who might be in need of remediation, and instead of pushing them into a program that remediation is required, are we actually analyzing their circumstance to possibly offer them something that the chair had mentioned, which very well may be a high-paying, high-wage, high-demand job with a certificate or a CTE program? So I would appreciate, and I know y'all do consider it, but I really would appreciate that be a focus and be reported back to the legislature so that we can factor that in. Thank you.
That's a good point, and I'd like to comment on that, in that I know that a few years ago, the remediation levels were much higher than they are now. And quite frankly, I think some of us thought that K through 12 should probably be responsible for that and be held responsible. I wouldn't say have their hands slapped, but the bottom line is they should be turning out better students than they were turning out. And it was costing the community colleges money, if I remember right. And that was a big issue with the presidents. It's like we're having to take these people and get them up to speed to get them an AS degree, much less to get them ready to go to a four-year school. So we can work on that, and Kel would have the numbers on the amount of remediation being needed at the
And I want
community
to be
college
clear,
level.
remediation class is 0 credit toward a degree, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Hobson.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Poggett, thank you for your prior service, and I have confidence you'll be confirmed again. This is probably more of a statement, much like my preceding interrogator over there that, more of a commentary, rhetorical question, but there is a bill that's going through the legislature right now that deals with construction, and Kel knows about it well.
Mhm.
We've had some, negotiations both in the committee and, not privately, but within a bigger group, outside, kind of a work session type meeting. And it deals with the buildings, on our campuses, both IHL and community colleges. And some of the proposal is to loosen up the requirements for DFA oversight. I don't know how much you know about this.
Kelly and I discussed it briefly.
Well, it is an issue, and I think, just for your edification, the DFA is so overwhelmed with the number of projects around the
Delays
state,
projects.
and that has caused some delays. And I think we all agree as legislators, we want to help streamline the process and make it go well, but we're also concerned about the quality of the work that's being done there. And I understand this as much as anybody, I think, here, because I see these bills come through every year about how much we're having to pay for buildings that are being repaired and rehabbed. I want to emphasize how important it is that this community college board, along with the local boards, which I know you don't control, understand that the oversight needs to be very strong. And it's critically important to making sure that we don't have a building that's a state building, because it's ultimately all the state building
Right.
that we're having to rehab in 5 years or 10 years, something that's going to last, something that's built well. You know that you're using good contractors. You know that the construction methods are well tested, because we do have buildings in the state right now that are in bad condition, and we're spending millions of dollars maintaining those. And some are because they just have outlived their useful life, but many others are because they probably weren't built as well as they were. So I just want to implore you, I know Kel knows as well, and your fellow board members, that that you look hard at that. You don't rubber stamp things that come through. I think we've agreed on a 10 million and below cap at least. I don't know where that bill stands in the process, but if it gets through, any project under that amount would not have to go through DFA oversight. It would just be with the locals and with you. But I implore you and your colleagues to really dig into that. And I hope I'll do as we often do here. Would you not agree with that proposal?
Totally agree. Kellen had a chance to discuss this briefly this morning, and I do think that you need to release some of the handhold that the bureaus had over getting these buildings built, but I also agree with what y'all are doing. You need to have some guardrails to make sure that everything's done properly.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. But you will be part of that guardrail system. So I'm
Absolutely.
asking you to take that
Sure.
serious and make sure that you're doing everything you can to
Yes,
get
sir.
proper oversight. Thank you.
Senator Norwood?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Paget, one thing, I guess we were at a meeting earlier in I guess it was summer, where the conversation came up regarding, you say you began your, college career at what's,
Pearl River Junior College.
okay. And, you went on to graduate from Mississippi State. There seemed to be a disconnect, I guess some concerns between the community college and the senior college when it comes to graduation. And that whereas that Mississippi State University, where you graduated from, really received no credit for your graduating. If there should be a conversation, I guess, between the community college and the commission and the IHL, because it's unfortunate for the senior college that they're not, they don't receive credit. I mean, that's a concern that came up in the meeting, and unfortunately, nobody was able to give us, I mean, you were not there, and I don't even know if we had a representation from the community colleges that was, I know it was discussed with IHL, but it's something that I think would be in the best interest of education in our state, higher ed in our state, if we can get that narrowed down and
Sure.
at least get an understanding through that process.
Yeah.
It's totally, I have no idea exactly what you're talking about. We can pursue that though.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, I was not asking, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'd like for you to do,
Sure.
is to pursue, through the appropriate course to try to help resolve it because it's impacting higher ed in our state in a negative way. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Senator Norwood. We've got some discussions about that, ongoing, that particular issue. I'll talk to you about after the committee, but I'm glad you brought that up. Senator Hill, would you like to speak?
Well, I probably could search the world over and probably couldn't find somebody that I think is better suited for this job than John Paget. He's invested basically his whole life in community, in service, to every civic club you could imagine. Radio station, sold insurance to everybody, makes it to every Mississippi State ball game he can make it to, and is extremely concerned about the youth. He's had kids go through the system, knows it well inside and out. And I just am thankful that he has a reappointment and that the governor saw fit to reappoint him to the board.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion to advise and consent. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, and thank you for agreeing to serve.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
right.
Senator Hill.
Ms. Thurman, you are the next reappointment, and we've already asked Mr. Paget a lot of the questions we wanted to make sure that we ask, but can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Madam Chairman and members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to possibly be confirmed to serve again at the Mississippi Community College Board. It's really been an honor for me. I'm a native of Tipple County. I've been there most of my life. I graduated from Ripley High School. I got a scholarship for band to go to Northeast. I'm a first generation college graduate. I graduated at Northeast with an Associate of Arts, and then I went on to Mississippi State, where I got a degree in social work. I'm a charter employee, I guess you would call it, of the 1983 compulsory school law. I was the school attendance officer for 29 years. And I retired in 2012 and went to work for a nursing home there in my county as the social services director. Having the background of being the compulsory school attendance officer, my life's work has been in helping kids stay in school and working with those kids who fall through the crack, and there's many of them. I feel like now, as opposed to when I first started, there are so many opportunities for that particular group of people that have not, their parents didn't have education or jobs that could get them out of a cycle that had them to depend on the government for help and that kind of thing. So serving on this committee furthered that love of just helping and learning more about what Mississippi can offer our students.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you, serving on this committee, kind of the same genre of questions. What do you think kind of are the greatest challenges for our community colleges and our students as they're matriculating right now?
I think just, I think it goes back to guiding those children to certain programs because, you know, we all know that everybody's not made up to go that 4-year route. And there's so many opportunities that they could go for a year or less or 2 years in some career tech programs and things that they could come out and have a good quality of life. And I think that's still a challenge for us to guide those children in those directions.
All right. Committee, would y'all like to ask questions? Senator Sparks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Thurman, for serving. I went to Northeast out of high school. I graduated with a whopping 46 people in Belmont High School. We are full in Northeast Mississippi of excellent public K-12 schools that are small and rural. And if you don't believe me, I can show you the 1A, 2A, and 3A state basketball banner for the championships that riddle our district. I think that should be part of the funding formula going forward but I so appreciate your perspective on this because that is my concern as someone who has had an excellent K-12 experience, but is very small and very rural, that step onto the campus at Boonville or Fulton or wherever you go is a step that is a successful step. And certainly if someone needs to be remediated, the last thing they need is the overwhelming atmosphere of a university campus, in my opinion. Is that some of what you see as the benefit in the community college system? I want everybody that wants to go get a 4-year degree to have access. I want to support that. But we, for 25 years, made that the only measure of success. And we have starved ourselves as a state of skilled labor, of careers, of entrepreneurship, because we just told everybody, if you'll just go get that piece of paper, it means something. And I would challenge you, the ROI on some of those pieces of paper are not worth the paper they're written on compared to going through one of our community colleges.
Well, I had great parents. They didn't go on to college. So in my home, we were always taught to do well, but that wasn't, they didn't stay on me about my grades. I was a good student in high school, but I don't know how I would have done or how successful I would have been if I had gone straight to a public university. Stepped on the campus of Northeast and I excelled. And I think that gave me the confidence and the vision to do more than living my whole life pretty much in Tippah County. So there was a different world out there, and Northeast gave me that want to and that confidence to do that. And I think for a lot of students, that's what's lacking. They don't have a vision, they don't have the confidence, and they don't have a coach or somebody pushing them through, because if the parents didn't do it, they don't know how to push them to do that. So.
Thank you. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You heard the question I asked Mr. Pygott a few moments ago, and I
Yeah.
hope you respect and understand the gatekeeper role that you will play if that bill were to pass this year.
I do.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, have a motion to advise and consent. All in favor? Thank you, and thank you for your service, and
Thank you.
motion to rise and report. Thank you.